Hi, we are a group of young people who live in Perthshire and have first-hand experience of what it's like to live with domestic abuse.
Stop! 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 Stop!
Domestic abuse is abuse that takes place within a close relationship, for example, between a boyfriend and girlfriend. Domestic abuse can continue to take place even when people in the relationship have split up. However, domestic abuse doesn't just affect the two people in the relationship, it affects the children and young people too. We would like to share with you some of our experiences and hope that by making this DVD we will help people who are experiencing domestic abuse to know that they are not alone. For people to respect us and our experiences and to work towards stopping domestic abuse.
When my mum and dad argued, I felt sad and scared. Once I went to my granny's in my dressing gown and slippers.
When my mum and her ex-boyfriend used to argue, it made me feel sad and angry. I would go into my bedroom and watch TV to drown out the noise.
We used to have to listen to him shouting at her, whether we were in the same room or not. Sometimes he would throw things at her and threaten to hit her. He used to play mind games, like pretending everything was okay, take us out and all that, then we would come home and get shouted at for nothing. It makes me sad and angry that someone can be so heartless towards someone they claim to love. I used to have to go upstairs and blast music to drown out the shouting. Sometimes it would be so bad I'd have to leave the house.
Experiencing domestic abuse or seeing that happen next to you, like, could result in long-term effects with your anger, your sadness, depression.
When my mum and dad argued, it made me feel really upset. When my mum and dad argued, my sister said, "Let's go into my room until they've finished." Sometimes when my dad drops me off at mum's after the weekend, my mum and dad argue, or when they're talking on the phone. I go upstairs and listen to my iPod. I've got a really loud song and I just turn it up.
It's hard knowing that there's someone in your family with drug and alcohol problems and they refuse to get help until they're forced to. I think my dad is only doing what he is doing because he doesn't want to go to jail again. One night he started smashing the house up, and for those who think it's funny, it's not when it comes to nearly smashing you. He was shouting at Mum and throwing things around the house. He threw the PlayStation chair down the stairs. It nearly hit me. I could have ended up in hospital. It wasn't me that I was worried about, it was my brother. He's only at primary and he's got a lot of life to live and he shouldn't have gone through this. Mum had said 2 to 3 weeks before that accident, if Dad did this, that I should phone the police and tell them that my dad was on a rampage, so I did. The police lifted Dad from the house that night. I had no feelings at that moment. I had no idea what was going to happen after that. I had no dad. What had happened that night will stay with me for the rest of my life. You don't actually know what abuse is until it's happening or happened to you. Yes, we learn about it, but it's not the same. If you think of an abuse film and feel sad, imagine that was you in that position.
My mum moved out with me when I was about 1 because my dad used to hit her, but that didn't stop him from coming after us. He would just barge into where we were living and beat Mum up. I normally just sat on the stair and cried. Then he would take me out of the house without telling my mum where we were going. When I was with my dad, I didn't get fed. If I was sick, I'd have to clean it up myself. and I had to take myself to the toilet. I was only about 3 at the time. He stopped when I was about 6. I don't know why it stopped, but I think it was because I was older and could tell someone. My mum was always sad and upset, and sometimes he found it hard to look after us. I tried to help Mum with the washing and dishes. Sometimes I fed my sister and played with her while my mum was asleep. I sometimes still see my dad around. I just wait round the corner until he's gone. It makes me feel really annoyed. I feel much happier now, though, because he doesn't bother us anymore, and if he did, I'd just phone the police.
How can people like teachers, social workers and the police help children and young people who have experienced domestic abuse?
Other people can help by just simply being someone that's there to talk to. They can also take action, even if that means removing the young person from the home.
Some teachers just assume that children are wanting to be naughty. The teachers should ask the children why they are acting like this and is there anything wrong.
People should help children and young people affected by domestic abuse by going easy on them and giving them more time on everything.
It's been really good to talk about what happened. One of my teachers was really good and helped me to write a letter to the sheriff to say that I didn't want to see my dad, which meant that the court didn't make me see him.
In Scotland and some other countries, we can get help to cope and get rid of the feeling. You may feel as if you are the only one, but you aren't. I learned it happens a lot, and there is a word called domestic abuse, and it's not a nice thing to go through. It's rough, but if you have the right people, they will help you.
The teachers could speak to my mum about what has actually been happening in my family.
Teachers may not know or understand what you've been through. Social work can help you through that dip in life for them to understand what the situation was. Police can give you advice and to hope for the best. It doesn't need to be you speaking, it just needs to be your words. Because if there's a meeting and you're not there, your voice is heard and it's not silenced. We are being supported by Perthshire Women's Aid Children and Young People Service. We would like to share with you how they have helped us and hope that if you're experiencing domestic abuse, you get the help and support you need and deserve.
Women's Aid has helped me as I know that I'm not alone. I'm not the only one that has experienced domestic abuse. I also understand that it's never a good thing and it needs to be stopped.
Perthshire Women's Aid has really helped me a lot. It's good to talk about your problems. They give me advice and say that if my mum and dad's arguing, it's not my fault.
By going to Perthshire Women's Aid, I've got to meet new friends that go to my school, knowing that other children and young people have experienced domestic abuse calms me down. I also have less fights with my sister.
Like Women's Aid have helped because they put you in a safe environment away from the people who are abusing, because they've had that many situations where people have been abused and who have experienced somebody else getting abused. They've helped them out a lot. Group work has helped a lot to take your mind off of things and go and do other things with Women's Aid.
I got help from a support worker at Women's Aid and understand what you're going through. Meeting people at group work was good and well as well, because sometimes it's hard to talk to your friends about what has happened, but you can talk to them because it happened to them too. If you can talk to someone, you can just let it out. If you don't, then no one will know and no one can help you.
Thank you for listening to our personal stories. We want you to know that there's still a future ahead. Keep your head up high. Things can change, and please talk about it. Don't give up. There is always hope.